our podcast. This is Sheila Z. Stirling, your host, where we delve into integrative wellness. And we have experts from all around the country, and we invite them to come on and share their expertise with you. And these are people that are going to be at the Integrative Wellness Expo and Conference here in Las Vegas, Nevada, May 17th and 18th. And today we are very honored to have Pepe Cacavalli Ebert, and she is an expert in iridology. So, welcome, Pepe, and you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Sheila. I'm so proud and happy to be a part of your event that will be taking place in May. And I just love iridology, and I'm so excited to be able to talk about it. So,
Excellent.
what is iridology? Is what everybody is saying. Some people know about it. That was 20 years ago, and some people have never even heard about it.
Hmm.
Iridology is the eyes of the window for your health, your emotions, and spirit. Iridology itself is the study of the color, the pigmentation, and the structure of the eye as it relates genetically through the iridology plan. It identifies strengths and it identifies weaknesses within the body. Iridology is a master of genetics in the science of genetics.
Hmm.
So where and when did this all begin? We're going back to the 1800s, and a gentleman by the name of Ignan van Priestley from Budapest, Hungary, was the first practitioner identified to do any mapping of iridology. Dr. Bernard Jensen of North America was noted as the first father of iridology. And I had the pleasure of having him look at my eyes in 1983.
Wow.
And that was where the seed was planted. However, I was part of corporate America at the time, and it just didn't fit into my life.
Yeah.
However, remember, that seed was planted. Now, fast forward to 1995, his daughter-in-law is at a health fair in Las Vegas, and she had a booth, and I happened to be walking by, and she says, "Can I look into your eyes?" And I said, "Sure," not knowing that it was iridology, but I soon found out that it was. She had a device like this, if you can see it. Here it is. It's a magnifying glass with a flashlight attached to it. And she looked into my eyes, and I had just had a physical not that long ago, and she was able to see it within a minute, what came up on my physical. So again, seed was planted again. Now I'm HR director for a large corporation, still didn't fit into my life. But when I decided to retire from HR, tired of laying off people and firing people and shutting down facilities, I said, this isn't good for my heart. I need to do something that's more meaningful and less stress. And then that's when I pursued getting into iridology because that seed had already been planted.
Wow.
It's just amazing. You never know what's going to develop when you go to these health fairs.
It's
So
true.
back to iridology. Iridology, when we look at the eyes have, we look at it as having two colors. It's a blue-eyed person or somebody with dark brown eyes.
Hmm.
However, when we do our analysis, we basically look at three, which is the combination of someone with blue eyes and brown eyes. So the blue-eyed person is called a lymphatic person, and they have issues with their lymphatic fluid. Everybody has the fluid, but they are more susceptible for congestion or stagnation.
Hmm.
So what's really important for a blue-eyed person is that they move the lymphatic. It's not like we have a a pump like our heart to pump blood through our system, we have to physically move the lymphatic. And you can do that in a number of ways. You can jump on a trampoline, you can be on a vibrating machine, you can do skin brushing. Massages are wonderful for moving that fluid within the body, but very, very important for blue-eyed people. The
Interesting.
people that have a biliary eye, which is a blend between, they had a parent that had one had blue eyes and one parent had brown eyes. So they have a mixture of blue and brown, which is a biliary eye. So their issues are the liver and digestive issues. So we recommend for people that have the biliary eye to, if you're going to eat something very heavy and you know you're going to have digestive issues, take some enzymes before you have your meal. And that will help with breaking down the food. So your digestion is not having to work, your body isn't having to work so hard for digesting your food. And, liver cleanses are always good to do also to help with the liver. Now, the hemogenic person, that's the person that has the dark brown eyes, and their issues is usually blood issues. They have sluggish blood. It could be thick, it could be thin, it could be having issues with varicose veins, hernias, hemorrhoids, being anemic. So those people, we really have to work with the blood and make sure that their blood stays really healthy. So what happens when you have an analysis done? So the first thing I do is I take pictures of your eyes. I don't use the device that they've used years ago. I have a camera that has a very sophisticated lighting system so that I can really see the details of the eyes, especially in the hemogenetic eyes. Those dark brown eyes are so thick with pigment that it's really hard to see detail. However, with the lighting system that I have, it really enlights all of the structure. So I'm able to see how those structures are related to the different organs in the body. Can anybody learn to do iridology? Absolutely. There's classes that you can take online, and they're all over the country. As a matter of fact, all over the world. I'm part of an organization called IPA, which stands for International Iridology Practitioners Association. We have practitioners that are in Sri Lanka, Australia, Hawaii, all over the world. So it's really, if you ever get that urge that you want to learn iridology, there's always a method to find someone that teaches.
Oh,
I personally do not teach. I'm a practitioner. But if you're interested, you can always call me and I will be happy to give you that information
oh,
and when
that's
the
great.
classes are going to be held.
Great. Now, I heard that you can actually look back into the ancestry of people and actually see it in somebody's eyes. You can actually tell generations back. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It goes back 4 generations. So
Wow.
most people know something about their health situation with their parents. Some may know a little bit about their grandparents. Most people don't know anything about their great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents, but it goes back 4 generations. That's what we're looking at. When we say genetically, that's what we're looking at is the genetics. A lot of these things that I may see, you may not have, but you have a tendency, a potential tendency to get it if, let's say, I'm going to use an example, diabetes. Most people can relate to somebody in their family that has diabetes. Diabetes will show up in the markings of the eyes in 4 places. 2 o'clock, When we look at the iris, it's round, so we look at it as a clock. So 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. If there are markings there in those areas, then I'm going to ask, is somebody in your family have diabetes? Again, doesn't mean that you have it. And if you know one of your parents had it and you said, I'm not going to have diabetes, and really started making some really good choices early in life, chances are you won't get diabetes. However, if you don't make good choices, there's a good chance that you could develop the diabetes only
That is
because
so
it's genetically in your body.
that is so interesting. And when you say markings, what do you mean? I mean, is there like a spot or a color or something?
All of the above. Yep, we look at colors, we look at markings, and in the eye, and I don't know if you can see this. This is a
Yeah.
mapping of the eye. This is the right eye, and these have all of the different organs. So if there are certain markings in those organ areas, that's what we're looking for. Some are big, some are small, some are deep, some are light, but they all give us a message. And there's lots of different things that we look at. We look at, is there coloring in the center part of your eye? Are there pigments, which are like freckles on your eyes? Those, and if they relate to the same thing, let's say, I'm going to go back to diabetes again, that's the pancreas. And the color for the pancreas is orange. So if I see orange in the middle part of your iris, that's a little flag that's going to go up and say pancreas. Then if I see, markings in the four areas that I already spoke about, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Okay, that's the pancreas area again. Okay, so we want to be able to see how many places it's going to come up to be able to say, okay, you really need to be careful in making your choices. How much water are you drinking? Are you drinking and eating lots of candies and sweets and carbs? Carbs are turn into sugar. Do you like those potato chips and the French fries and the bread? That's my weakness, the bread. I love bread. So I have to be real careful with that. So,
Yeah.
and even crackers fall into that category.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I'm going to educate you on what works, what doesn't work, and I can't diagnose. I'm not allowed to diagnose. I can just basically educate you on what's going on with your iris and how it's affecting your body.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, will you actually be taking pictures or are you doing mini sessions or partial or I mean, when you at the expo, will people actually be able to experience this?
They'll be able to experience me taking pictures of their iris. It takes a long time to be able to do the analysis, and
Right.
I don't like being at a conference like this with people coming up and they have questions. I like to sit one-on-one with a person. So at the conference, I will have my camera. I will be taking pictures, and then what I do is I do the analysis. And then we have an hour to an hour and a half consultation where I go through the report. The report is 5 to 7 pages, and I go through it in detail. Each eye is done separately. I do the right eye first and go through the whole report. Then I go back and I do the left eye. And if you have any questions, this is the time to ask the questions. And if something comes up later on, you can always give me a call and I'm happy to explain something more. I do a narrative at the end of the report. So if you forget something, you can always go back to the narrative part of the report and get the answers.
Oh, that's great. So you'd consider this a preventative. This is something people would do to prevent things happening.
Yes, it's educating them as to, how they got there and how to make improvements to prevent more deficiencies from happening.
Oh, well, that's excellent. That's excellent. So I mean, we kind of are what we eat and the choices that we make But that's really interesting. Can you maybe give us an example or maybe a client that stood out or, something like a story or something of somebody that you've done? I know you've done so many and you're,
Yes, I did one just this morning. As
oh,
a matter of fact, I took her pictures a couple of weeks ago. She
uh-huh.
had had some surgery, and so we had to kind of delay the consultation part of it. But she was very, very impressed with it. She had heard about it 20 years ago. Again, never had it done, and she was having some challenges. And she said, I'm into preventative health. So she says, let me look and see if I can find someone that does iridology. And so she found me. And so we went through her report. And it was, when we're looking at the different areas, something came up with the color, something came up with the area where the mapping is done, where the kidneys are in the bottom part of your iris. And the pupil, the circle of the pupil should be round.
Right.
And if it has some flattening in it, then that's an area that it relates to the spine. And she had fallen off a horse. She had an ATV accident, and it showed up on her iris that, these things happen. And she was amazed that the flattening in the pupil was related to the spine, and she could tell me exactly what happened to flatten those areas out. So
Wow.
it was a great story. It was a great discovery.
Yeah.
And she was able to relate to everything that I was saying.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Now, when people come up to you, I mean, what's the logistics? Do they stand? Do they sit in a chair? Do they have to lay down? What
So
happens?
I have it's just like going to the eye doctor.
Oh,
I have a frame where it's a chin rest and my camera is attached to it. So you put your head in the chin rest, forehead against the rail there, and then I can pull up your picture and take pictures of both eyes. And that's as easy as it gets.
well, that does sound really easy.
It is, yeah.
It's just
It,
pretty painless. And
it, it,
how long does it take to actually do it? Just taking pictures or
Just taking pictures, it depends. If you don't open your eyes, then it'll take a little bit longer because I'll have to take more pictures because I have to see the top part of your eye and the bottom part of your eye so that I can, because the top has information and the bottom has information. So as long as you can open your eyes wide enough so I can get pictures of them. And sometimes we have to do one of these
okay.
and whatever it takes to get those pictures. And it's a flash of a camera. So that's, you know, sometimes it's real quick and sometimes it takes a little bit of time,
Oh, that
but
is
it is
interesting.
painless.
Yeah, right. It's just such a wonderful science, and it's fascinating that you can look into somebody's eyes and actually tell physical ailments and maybe even emotional ailments. And I'm fascinated with the fact that when you do this, that you can actually pinpoint things that happened generations ago and moving forward. So I think it's wonderful. And how long, if I missed it, I'm sorry. How long has this whole science been around?
Since the 1800s.
Okay, okay.
Yes, it's been around for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, that's really wonderful.
Yeah, and it falls into the alternative medicine. So if you're not into the alternative, you'll never hear about it. And then if you are, it's like 20 years ago. That's when I found out about it. And it's not
Well,
for
that's
10 years for
great. Yeah.
me.
Well,
It's
we're so
always
happy to
20.
have you. I mean, and of course, integrative wellness is just what it says, integrative wellness. And of course, it's all about alternative medicine and helping people, giving people the tools that, they need to stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, stay 30 till you're 90. And I mean,
Yes.
that's our goal. Yeah. So is there any other things you'd like to point out to it? Or I mean,
Well, I will be doing a special at the conference. So if you're at all interested, this is a time to do it. And, come by and see us. This again, it's May 17th and 18th Integrative Wellness Expo. It's going to be at the Ahern's Hotel and Casino. So come visit us, bring a friend, and just come and see all of these wonderful vendors with alternative health, remedies that are just so fabulous.
Great. Well, we certainly appreciate you and grateful for you being on today. And so, if you've enjoyed this session, please like and share, as of course. And we look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas. There's free parking.
That's good.
That's a big deal in Las
It
Vegas
is.
now. So we look forward to seeing you. And thank you so much, Peppy. This is wonderful. I'll be putting your name and different things up there. And we look forward to seeing you in May. And we're just so excited to have you. So thank
Thank you.
you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for this opportunity. I just
Oh,
love iridology and I love to share it. And I just love to educate people about their health.
well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Kind of the more
Yes, it
we
is.
know, the better we get.
Yes, absolutely.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much. And we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye.